Look, let me ask you something honestly. How long has it been now? 6 months? A year? 2 years? And somehow they still live in your head. You'll be doing completely normal things, working, driving, watching a movie, talking to somebody else, and then out of nowhere, boom, your brain goes right back to them. The memories, conversations, the confusion, the questions, and maybe the biggest question of all, why am I still thinking about this person? I mean, honestly, sometimes it feels embarrassing, right? Because part of you is sitting there thinking, this is ridiculous. Why do I still care? Why can't I just move on already? And people love giving that advice. Just move on. Oh wow, amazing advice. Very helpful. If it were that simple, you would have done it already. Nobody wakes up and says, you know what sounds fun? Let me obsess over emotional confusion for 2 fucking years. That's not what's happening. And I think this is where people misunderstand avoidant relationships completely. Because when someone stays stuck on a relationship for a very long time, it's usually not because the relationship was healthy and amazing. It's usually because the relationship never emotionally completed. That's the part people miss. See, avoidant dynamics create unfinished emotional stories. And unfinished stories haunt people. Let me explain. In the beginning, it probably felt very real. A lot of connection, a lot of communication, long talks, inside jokes, constant messaging. You felt seen, maybe for the first time in a long time. And they probably said things too, things that made you believe this relationship meant something deep. Stuff like, I've never connected like this before, or you're really important to me, or I feel safe with you. And when somebody says things like that consistently, your nervous system starts building attachment. Of course it does. You think, okay, this is becoming something real, but then slowly something changes. Less effort, more distance, longer gaps, weird energy, and suddenly you go from feeling secure to feeling confused. And confusion is what hooks people. Not love, confusion. Because now your brain is trying to solve a puzzle. What happened? Did I do something wrong? Did they stop caring? Were they scared? Was any of it real? And avoidants often make this worse because they rarely end things clearly. They fade, disappear, breadcrumb, come back randomly, act warm again, then disappear again. And every time they reappear, your brain goes, wait, maybe the connection is still there. That's why these relationships are so hard to get over. Because your nervous system never gets a clean ending. It gets emotional whiplash. 1 minute closeness, 1 minute distance. 1 minute affection, 1 minute coldness. And your brain keeps trying to reconcile those two realities. How could somebody feel so real and then act so absent? That question keeps people stuck for years. Now listen carefully, because this next part matters. You're probably not stuck because you lost the love of your life. You're stuck because your brain never got resolution. Huge difference. Your mind keeps reopening the file because emotionally, it still feels incomplete. Human beings hate unfinished emotional stories. That's why movies with unresolved endings bother us. Your brain wants narrative closure. It wants, this is what happened. This is why. This is where we stand. But avoidant dynamics really give that. Instead, you get ambiguity, mixed signals, half connections, silence, random appearances. And ambiguity is addictive because certainty allows grief. Ambiguity creates obsession. That's why some people can get over a respectful breakup in 3 months, but stay stuck on an avoidant for 3 years. Not because the avoidant loved them more, because the confusion was deeper. And honestly, sometimes the person themselves isn't even what you're attached to anymore. Sometimes you're attached to solving the story. That's the crazy part. You're trying to emotionally complete something that never emotionally completed. Now, here's where healing actually begins. Not when you finally understand them, but when you stop waiting for them to explain everything. That's the shift. Because a lot of people secretly believe, if I could just get one honest conversation, then I could move on. Maybe, but honestly, most avoidants are not going to suddenly show up with deep emotional clarity and accountability. And even if they do, it usually doesn't erase years of confusion because the wound was created through inconsistency, not through one sentence. So eventually healing becomes this, accepting that the connection may have been real in moments while also accepting that their capacity to sustain it was limited. Both things can be true, and once that clicks, your brain slowly starts loosening its grip. Not overnight, but gradually. You stop replaying everything as much. You stop needing answers every single day. You stop trying to decode every memory. And eventually your nervous system stops treating the relationship like unfinished business. Now, if this video is resonating with you, like the video, subscribe, share it with somebody who's stuck in this exact loop. Because a lot of people feel ashamed that they still think about the same person years later. But this is actually incredibly common in avoidant dynamics. And before I finish, hear me clearly. You're not weak because you still think about them. You're not pathetic. You're not crazy. Your brain got caught in an unresolved emotional loop. That's different. And loops can be healed. If you want help untangling that attachment, rebuilding your peace, and finally understanding why your mind keeps returning to this person, you can book a one-on-one session with me through the link in my bio, or contact me directly through pop call, chat, voice, or video, because sometimes one real conversation can help free your mind from a story that's been holding on to you for way too long. And honestly, you deserve your peace back.